Now, welcome. So, Tuesday, Bits and Bobs. Will is once again here. Will, hello.
Hey, Joe.
And the big wigs are in. Deputy Group Head of Sport. Whew. Yikes. Aidan O'Hara, welcome.
Thanks, Joe.
Don't fire us. What is this thing that's been going on down here on this floor? You're very welcome. Nice to have you on. Been a while.
Yep.
Not unprecedented, you two, by the way. April. There was a Will Slattery, Aidan O'Hara combo for Bits and Bobs.
I like this your new thing. You're going back and taking the date of everyone's last appearance.
Well, what I do is I set up a Teams chat and I tell you that the previous title was 3004 Bits and Bobs. So
Snooker discussion.
I was going to say it was in the teeth of the World Snooker Championship.
what were we talking about?
Right. The impending Chinese dominance, which proved prescient because
Yes.
it was the first ever Asian winner.
Okay.
We were on the ball.
Aidan is a man who likes a snooker. Has it been a good snooker year since then?
Well, I haven't really tuned in too much so far. It's a lot of, it's a bit like tennis and PGA Tour golf at times where there's a lot of events going on and people aren't really paying an awful lot of attention until the bigger ones come along. So, yeah, no, I think the Northern Ireland Open is on this week, but we don't need to get into that, I don't think.
Why? Because it's not interesting.
Just not that. Like, it's difficult in terms of, say, even TV coverage and those things. It's hard to find it at times, and it's not really that interesting at the moment. One tournament kind of runs into another, to be honest, at the moment, until it gets to...
On ITV4, isn't it? Or like generally, like, because I watched a bit of the British Open like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was looking for it for ages, and it was on like ITV3 or ITV4.
Okay.
And I had all the big hitters were on. Stephen Hendry, like they had a proper comms team, but I was just like, God, this is a real ordeal to find this. Like,
Yeah.
well, I watched some British Open.
What made you seek it out?
I just can't remember. I would watch a Champions League match, and then there was. I think I was given a bottle.
Say no more.
Giving a bottle to my son, so I had a bit of time to kill in the at around 11 o'clock, and it was a match that gone late. Who was competing? It was Judd Trump against Sean Murphy, and I was trying to find this for ages, and eventually I found it on ITV4. So that's all I'm going to add to the discussion.
Yeah, when I was on holidays, I turned on the TV one. You know, you've limited channels, obviously, in the room. And Judd Trump was playing Ronnie O'Sullivan in Saudi Arabia in a big final.
Yeah, they have that kind of that swing, if you like, out in those parts where the money is unbelievable. But
It would have made zero impact or impression on me if I wasn't trapped in a hotel room with that or CNN International. You know?
yeah, there's only one winner there, to be fair.
That's a real holiday channel, you know. And you get this like the
Yeah, and you start at, you know, day 2 or 3, you start googling the presenters, getting to know them. You know, you just get into that world.
a mind-numbing job.
Yeah, mind numbing. And there's the guy Richard Quest who does like a travel show. Have you seen him? He's like larger than life, eccentric British character. It does like a travel show. Like by day 5 of the holidays, like, oh, Richard Quest,
Yeah,
he's in Tanzania. Let's sit down and watch it.
sounds like a great holiday.
Holiday, yeah, I was going to ask.
Do you want? So it's a quiet-ish news day. I found myself flicking around websites and just getting drawn away from sport. You know the way the news is ceaselessly depressing at the moment. I found a moment of hope story. So this has happened in the UK. Sorry, I will get back to what's on the sports side of the websites. But how about this for a nice story on a Tuesday? Blind people are able to read again after having a tiny microchip inserted into the back of their eyeball. This was a trial at Moorfields Eye Hospital in London. So now people who were blind can now recognise faces, do crosswords, read books again. So they get this tiny little chip. You're talking 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters, and they put it into the back of your eyeball, and that is connected to a pair of glasses that you put on, which contain a video camera, and that enables video camera image to go to chip in your eyeball, signals transmitted to brain. Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
Yeah, no.
Will's like, no.
Very
But I
impressive.
tell you who won 3 All-Stars in 1997. 38 patients. So a lot of these patients had AMD, which was a previously untreatable condition. That's a nice phrase to be able to say. The leading cause of vision loss in the over 50s demographic. 600,000 people in the UK suffer with it. It's progressive loss of vision. Half of those are registered as blind. And so, yeah, video camera goes through to the chip and then onto the brain. And 84% of patients in the trial could read letters, numbers, words using the glasses within a year of the operation. It was an amazing interview with a woman in her 70s who's like a bookworm and she just can't believe she can read again.
That was cool. A social media trope is like videos of people hearing for the first time. Are we getting the visual one now of people reading for the first time in years?
Well, those videos are beautiful, aren't they? Where it's like a mother and then the kid and
Yeah.
3, 2, 1 snap. And jeez. Right. That was all I have to say about that. But I thought it was just a rare, like, oh,
We're not doomed yet.
Good news story.
kind of. You know, people out there trying to do good things. There was a nice email in. So a shout out to, I'm more reading this. This is a little bit self-aggrandizing, but it's just to, I just like to think of the next time that Niall, Jimmer, Mitch, Lowry and James sit down together. Bear with me. Lads, just wanted to send a quick message to say how much we love the podcast and to share a funny one from the weekend that shows just how deep it's gotten into our lives. I was out on Saturday night with my girlfriend, her 4 school friends and the boyfriends. Big group, so when we go to a restaurant, we split into 2 tables. Girls at one, lads at the other. Is that every group? Isn't it? What is that about? I'm sorry, I know what it's about, but you know what I mean? It's such a... We're all adults now. We don't talk to people of the opposite sex. No, we're here, you're there, go. Not even it's not even like a kind of a discussion point. It's just like, well, that's the way it is.
When you see how this email develops, you'll see they got it spot on, though.
Well, no, maybe, but it is just. I think every group is that.
I think, we had a family thing recently where there was 10 of us, and it was just the 5 lads walked in, sat down in one table, and 5 girls went the other way.
And not one person will go, is this weird?
Yeah, that hasn't evolved yet, has it?
Now, once we sat down and got the usual small talk out of the way, the entire night, Aidan, at our table basically turned into a deep dive discussion about the podcast. I'm talking full-blown debates, quoting recent episodes, relitigating panel opinions and throwing out a few of our own hot takes. It was non-stop, honestly. It felt like we were recording a bonus episode of our own. The girls must have checked over at least 3 times or 4 times during the night, wondering what all the noise and excitement was about, thinking we were either gossiping or plotting something ridiculous. Every time they asked, we told them we're just chatting about the Indo Sport Pod. The looks of confusion and disappointment, truly priceless. They genuinely couldn't believe what had us so fired up. This is the grip the podcast has on us. It's built a closer bond between 5 lads who barely knew each other than a group of girls who've spent all their school lives together. Cheers, Niall, Jimmer, Mitch, Larry and James. That's
good.
There is a thing when lads go out when you get home to your wife or girlfriend or whatever, and it's, how is Joe? I have no idea how he is, but I can tell you what he thinks about, it's back 5 or whatever it might be. The ability of lads on a night out to actually not learn anything significant about each other is incredible, but yet they can go through and talk for hours about things like the Indo Sport podcast.
Yeah, what I found funny with the email, it wasn't that they were debating discussion points on the show, like what people said about United. It was more the show at large they were debating. So
it was like a Reddit board.
Yeah. It was like debating, it's like a TV show with their favourite characters.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a Dan. Oh, I'm more of a Rudd guy. Like, that's what it
Their
sounds like.
favourite characters is what I'd love to know.
People have their favourite characters and their favourite quotes. Oh, remember when Dan said this?
Someone told me they were a Dan guy recently. His grumpiness was refreshing, they felt.
Oh, Dan is on a heater recently. And you know what the biggest testament to that heater is that you were off on a Friday a couple of weeks ago and we did a football show the day before Ireland played Portugal. So, quick turnaround time. So you're like, okay, the podcast goes out, but the shelf life might not be huge. I led off with Dan McDonald in Lisbon in the headline. 23,000 downloads. It went huge.
That's all you need.
And Dan carried the headline. So Dan is having a moment, as kids say these days.
He is. His Fanta Orange at 9:30 a.m. email was just,
His staunch defense of it as well. There was no shame or walking it back. He was just like, he actually made it seem like it was completely normal.
I think we've agreed it is now a breakfast beverage. Fanta walking down the road. Come here. Are you? So that whole. I understand the cliche of, how's your recently divorced mate who his parents died in a car crash last week. And you're like, I don't know. We were just talking about the Indo Sport podcast. So I get that. I'm trying to rail against that at the moment. I think it's because I see my friends so rarely that it's like let's not talk. I don't care about Harry Maguire. What's up in your life? I'm going there with them. You're looking at me as if.
Oh no, sorry, I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And it's definitely strange and uncomfortable. See, I think if you're seeing your mates all the time, you sort of inherently just know what's going on with them.
So how would it go? You just say,
What's going on? Or I'd say to someone, what is an average day in your life these days? Because I know so little about like.
So you're interviewing them.
There's a bit of that, yeah. And it's worth doing, but there is something sad about it. This is not an original point. I've seen this, and I've thought it, but I think I've seen it recently as well. It's that thing when you get a bit older, you don't live life with your friends anymore. That they tell you about their lives, and you tell them about your life. You go for brunch or you do that kind of thing, but take your school friends or whatever. They didn't have to tell you about the time you booted the ball through the window of the French teacher's classroom and then legged it because you were there. But now it's like hard things. It's like, yeah, I had an argument with my boss. But you're just hearing about their lives all the time as opposed to experiencing it with them. So it's not as kind of. I think it's why it's good to do something, like start a paddle partnership, for instance. It's good to do stuff. I think that we were talking about sport on Friday and existential angst, and it's if you can play in a team with your mates, that's kind of doing stuff together. Because I think it does get a little bit like, oh, we sit down and you tell me about everything and I tell you about everything. It's a little, not that it's bad. Far from it. It's great, but it's definitely a pale imitation. I think we do stuff together. It's like going to a match together. Yeah, getting caught up in a riot.
And to the point of you not wanting just to ask them about like Harry Maguire and to talk more about not deeper things necessarily. Like, because for you, your whole week is spent debating and talking about sports. So I doubt like the first thing you want to do when you leave here is meet a friend and say, let's do it all again now, but on my own time.
There's a bit of that, but I mean, like there'd be stuff I'd be keen to talk about: movies, films, Jim Gavin, etc. You know what I mean? There's just what's going on in the world for sure. But it's you definitely can't. You can easily forget to be like, let's talk about you. It's awkward. I don't think lads are very good at it.
Are you more of a talker or a listener? Because I'm curious if you meet a friend, are they getting like the Joe Malloy kind of?
No, I'm not interviewing them. I'm sharing.
Asking a friend. Tell me about your average day in your life. That's what you'd ask someone in an interview.
I know, yeah, but if they ask me back, I don't say I'm the one asking questions here. I'll tell them about my life.
Matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
We're not here. No one wants to know what I have to say. Do you love your wife? So no. Anyway, what was that from? Oh yeah, the lads. Niall, Jimmer, Mitch, Larry, James. Look where they started.
Sounds like
do they have favourite characters? I would like to know that. I'd be interested to know.
Email back in. So I said quietish news day. It sort of is. Brentford beat West Ham 2-0 last night, up to 13th. Keith Andrews said their most complete performance. Now it helped they were playing West Ham, who are stunningly terrible this year. This kind of snuck up on me how bad they are. So they've lost 5 home matches in a row, which is their worst run since 1931 at home. Haven't done that in a long time. It was Nuno Espirito's first home match, and it coincides with a planned stay away, thousands of empty seats. So the 8 games this season, 6 losses, and the new manager's first home game, there's a protest. So Brentford had 22 shots to 7. Like the second goal was in the very last minute of added time, but like it was a domination. It's going very well for Keith Andrews.
Yeah, they've done 10 points from 8 games. It's decent enough. Like they're kind of beating the teams that not expect to beat, but that they have a chance of beating in terms of like West Ham are an awful run. They might improve, but last night was a very good time. Like if you're choosing to play West Ham away, it's a horrible rainy Monday night when there's thousands of fans staying away. It was a good time, but look, the only thing that was wrong with the performance from Brentford last night was they didn't win more comfortably.
Yeah, it should have been
so poor.
3-4 easily. Bowes and Pats 3-0 all sold out Daily Mount. This is all about the race for top 4 now for the European spots. So Stephen Kenny said it isn't really what either team probably wanted. So basically at the moment there's kind of a 3-way battle for that 4th spot. Rovers, Derry and Shells. Rovers, Derry and Shells will finish in the top 3. So it's Bowes, Pats, Drogheda, all within a point of each other. 2 games to go. So that's kind of the real focus for the end season. I see Johnny Cooper's going in as Dublin under 20 boss. Michael Dara McCauley alongside him. We have Philly McMahon at Nace. The Dublin legends are segueing into management.
Yeah, it's interesting because there did seem to be a period where they were making a concerted effort to have their next managerial appointment lined up. Like it went from Jim, Gavin, then Desi Farrell, and then there was a little bit of a void. Like it was kind of stark that like Declan Darcy was being talked about as maybe coming back in and end up going to Ger Brennan, who kind of forged his own path. So now it looks like they're trying to maybe put those building blocks back in place because it does seem like things drifted a little bit in terms of strategic planning. So
Johnny Cooper in. We'll see. I said Slow News Day. Arsenal have apologised to Atletico for the showers being cold. Match day -1 at the stadium. We won't get into it.
No need.
Both dressing rooms apparently. Sean Dyche, 2 years at Forest. Vincent Kompany contract extension at Munich to 2029. Ronan Mullen currently working on an extended special on the news. And then this Jude McAtamney story is pretty interesting. So Jude McAtamney, if you're not familiar, I think most people are vaguely at this stage, from Derry, former Derry under-20 footballer, only took up NFL in 2020. So, 5 years ago? And 5 years on, he's the kicker for the New York Giants. Now, an injury to their regular kicker has allowed him come into the main squad for the last couple of games. And it's real like life of a field goal kicker, not pleasant kind of thing. They lost by a single point to Denver Broncos, and he missed 2 extra point kicks. So that's 33 yards field goal in effect. Because like the standards are nuts for kickers. Like of the 32 NFL teams, 18 of their kickers still have a 100% record in extra points 6 rounds in, whereas New York's have the lowest conversion rate in the league. So he missed the kick. He gets a lot of abuse. You've Jason Kelsey on Twitter making kind of funny remarks at his expense. He did score 2 from 2 field goals and 3 from 3 extra points in his first 2 games, but he missed one last week. And then, like I said, at the weekend just gone, he missed 2, and Giants lost by a single point. I think you have to see his interview. I was going to play a clip of it, but the audio quality is not good enough. But he's just completely ashen-faced. He's like, it's all on me. It's my responsibility. And because the NFL position is so precarious that like a single mistake can ruin you, because we'll just get someone else in. He's probably talking like somebody who knows I'm dead in this town. It's that awful, that brutal for him.
It's one of those things in American sport as well, where the reporters are allowed into the dressing room. So they're going straight to the kicker. I mean, they conceded 33 points. Was it they conceded 33 points in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, it's not far from just on him that they lost the game, but he's the focal point. And again, the reporters can walk in, put the microphones and dictaphones under his nose and talk to him. Whereas in sport in this part of the world, if someone made such a mistake, you wouldn't hear from them. Like, there'd be no the manager would come out or another player would come out and say something and defend them or whatever it might be. But he's so exposed by the nature of the sports media and that over there, and he's obviously exposed as a kicker as well. It's that kind of position where you're a hero or a villain, and that's it. There's very little in between.
He was so 1,000-yard stare, hollowed out, distraught, that the cliche of the American journalists all shouting questions over each other. Jude, and what about this? And I mean, it was funereal. Like at one point, I thought they were going like, "Oh, Jude, it's not all your fault. Surely, it's someone else. It's a team thing." And he was like, "No, it's my fault."
But he's been made a complete scapegoat. Like, this is one of the greatest collapses in NFL history. Like, honestly, not an exaggeration. Like, the Broncos scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. It's the first time it's happened in 20 years. The Giants were up, 17. I think, by 18 points with like 6 minutes to go. Like, their quarterback threw an interception. They took the lead with, I think, less than a minute to go and still gave up a field goal. Like, their defense gave up so many points. Yes, he missed 2 extra points, which proved costly when you lose by 1, but it was a complete and utter meltdown.
No, it was all Jude McAtamney.
Yeah, that's what he's taking it.
Get him out.
He wants to obviously take the blame because he maybe wants to be a good teammate, but in reality, like, that was one part of what is an epic collapse across the board, from like coaching mistakes to the quarterback throwing a costly interception. So
is he done now in that dog eat dog world?
Yeah, I'd say so, because he was only like a backup kicker anyway. Like, when when the kicker's back to full strength, I'd imagine, like, as an international player, he will be given a shorter leash. Like, there will be people saying, "Oh, like, he's not even a kicker by trade. Like, why are we getting this guy?" Like, I was listening to an American podcast that I like, and that point was basically being made. Like, this guy hasn't even come through the proper pathways. Is he even a good kicker? Why are we using our money? The Giants, using money because international roster spot is an additional spot. So yeah, I'd say he is done, but.
It's cruel. It's just so brutal.
And it's funny, like say in rugby, when you're missing place kicks as an out half, you have opportunities to get into the game in other ways. You make things happen, create tries. A kicker, all you do is kick. You do not have another way to add value to the game. So if you're not making your kicks, you will not be kept around very long. And it was a costly miss. But it's worth pointing out that the Giants completely collapsed. And like defensive players in that meeting room should be looking at themselves as well, not just the kicker.
They have these kind of crazy stats for everything in American sports as well. I was looking it up earlier on. They said there was 1,602 games where a team leading by 18 points or more in the last 6 minutes had won. That scenario had played out 1,600 times, and every time the team had won. And in this instance, they managed to lose. So that feeds into Will's point of like it's a collapse for the ages, and it being New York as well. If he was playing in a sort of a smaller market, I mean the Giants are poor enough anyway, but it's still New York, so therefore they still get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of attention. So. That kind of, if you make a mistake there, you're going to be in the firing line.
Yeah.
I actually watched the highlights this morning because I was listening to a podcast about it coming in, and I was like, I need to see this for myself. How this collapse actually happened? Because mathematically, like to have that lead with that much time left in the clock and just the ability.
Give me the lead and the time again.
So there was 8. They were leading by 18 points, or 26 points to 8 ahead with about 6.5 minutes left in the clock.
Okay.
Which, when you can run 3 plays before having to punt, that alone should mean you should be able to bleed out the clock. But the quarterback threw a very costly interception in his own territory, which made, kind of really turned it around a bit.
In his interview afterwards, he was like, well, don't ask me, ask Jude. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like
none to see over here.
Yeah, like there's a lot of guys with blood in their hands here, and like the kicker is the easiest person to cut. They're not going to cut their first round quarterback for throwing an interception, nor should they. So like he's like kind of the guy who's easiest to blame here.
He knew it. That's what was so awful about it. It was, I know it, you guys ask me the questions, know it. The whole room knows it. Whenever our first choice kicker, Graham Gano, gets back, you're never going to see me again. This could be my NFL dream over.
They're only going to get one chance. Like Charlie Smith is the backup kicker for the Saints, and he's kind of waiting for his moment, maybe where their kicker gets injured and he comes in, and he will only be given a very short window to prove himself.
It's some pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
To kick under that pressure. Like Johnny Sexton has had periods where it wasn't good.
Yeah. And you're coming in cold. That's the difference. Like, Johnny Sexton is running the game. He has a feel for it. He's gonna, knocking his body. Like I feel like it must be very difficult to just come off the bench to kick. Now
they're all warming up a lot, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
kicking like they're kicking on the sideline. They've got the big net and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Still, it's nice to see the flight of the ball. You'd like they're kicking into a net. It's not quite the same.
Yeah, no, it's a different skill for sure. But
he was saying I felt the connection was perfect. It all felt right, and then I was just shocked to see it pushed wide.
Yeah, some of the best kickers miss extra points. Like they brought it out. It used to be like 20 yards, and it was just an automatic almost. I think there was probably 99% success to make it more jeopardy. They brought it out about 10 years ago, and it actually has added a lot of drama as we saw at the weekend.
Okay, that's Jude McAtamney over in New York. Still only 25, but that is a painful one for him. And you'll see the video online if you want to have a look. Jurgen Klopp was on the Diary of a CEO. So he was asked to clarify this whole coaching, I'm never going to coach again, another team. And he said, well, I said I'll never coach a different team in England. So that means if I go back, then it's Liverpool. So theoretically, it's possible. There you go. It's just what Arne Slot needs on it. Monday morning after we lost 4 in a row.
Does that mean he's ruling out coaching in another country?
I got that impression. But I haven't listened to it all yet. I started it. I don't think I'll finish it. It was fine.
He didn't?
It's okay. Like he said, but on the Liverpool thing, just to clarify, he said, he still is saying, I don't miss coaching. So like all the headlines are, I will manage Liverpool again. It's really not that. He's kind of pushed into it. Yeah, like theoretically it's possible. But he's saying, I don't miss coaching. I don't miss press conferences 3 times a week. I'm not one of these guys that misses being in the dressing room. At one stage he says, it smells. So I don't think he's saying call me or anything.
It's just a loss to the game, though, isn't it? A guy who still could be managing with so much kind of. It was saying
he's 58 now. I mean, he's a great looking young 58, but
But that's not like.
No, he's not ancient, but
I just always liked the guys at the top of any sport who could still be doing it. Like when Joe Schmidt stepped away and went into World Rugby, I was like, that's a waste. I want him back coaching, and you saw what he's doing with Australia. Klopp likewise. I'd love to see him take any team. I like. maybe go back to Germany, take with Dortmund again. I don't know, or the national team. I'd love to see him at a World Cup.
National team feels right. He said on Florian Wirtz, "You will all eat your words." He didn't say it as threateningly as that, but he said he's going to come good. I started. It seemed okay. Like you're gonna feel for him as a person. Like on the way he is, he said his mum was super loving person, caring person, confident person, outgoing, social. His dad was far more standards, drive, and he said that was the concoction that was around me. So you're getting stuff like that in it.
Do you find him interesting?
Yeah.
For all the passion and intensity he brought, I never found him like. And he was a colourful quote, but I don't know. I don't know how much of an interest I'd have listening to him in an interview setting. I don't know. There's something about him that...
He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
I always thought anytime he talked about society at large, different times he was asked about different things as a Liverpool manager, I always thought he'd...
Yeah, I suppose he had a bit of depth there.
Very deep, yeah, thoughtful. And then one other piece of news. So Ireland are at the Under-17 World Cup in Qatar. Aidan, you saw this. So the squad was named today, and the breakdown of the squad versus, for instance, the Brian Kerr squad back in 1998 is probably as people would expect, but very striking nonetheless.
Yeah, I think there was only, it's a long, long time ago, obviously, in 98, there was the under-18s. I think there was only one player based in Ireland at that stage.
So of the 18...
Of the 18, there was only one player. It was Keith Doyle, was at Pats.
And the rest are...
And the rest were all... Yeah, I mean, there was, just looking at it here, there was West Ham... Luton Town, Everton, Wolves, Leeds, Liverpool, etc. Those guys.
So 2025.
This time around, I think they said it's 16 of the 21 players who came through were as part of the League of Ireland pyramid. There's 7 of them currently based with Division 1 teams, which is quite interesting. I mean, look, this debate about League of Ireland and pyramids and progression plans and all that kind of stuff and where we are post Brexit and etc. It's not going to go away, but it's just interesting. I mean, Finn Harps have 3 players in the squad, which is interesting. It's not somewhere where you'd automatically associate underage players coming from.
Well, they just seem so cash strapped. I would have presumed from afar they're not able to put much money into their academy.
You would think so, but it seems like there's some very good work been done up there. There's a couple of Dundalk players in there. I think there's 4 from Rovers, and I think maybe. Shane McDonough, I think, is ex-Rovers as well. He's at Venezia. But it's just interesting looking at the teams that they're with. Like, there's...
It's not just, they're all from Shamrock Rovers.
No, it's not just they're all from Shamrock Rovers. And in previous times, it would have been they're all in the UK.
Yeah.
Whereas you've got, there's Finn Sherlock there at Hoffenheim. There's players from Lorient. There's Bruges. So it's probably a sign of Benfica. So it's probably a sign of where things are going from. That's the progression piece for young players from here.
Yeah. I presume the likes of Argenvuna, Noonan.
Mm-hmm. Noonan, yeah, they're both
first teamers.
Yeah, they're both
right.
there. They're probably the two leading lights. So yeah, that's next month, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go.
Yeah, okay. Rob McBride was out today. Will Munster were more up for it than us. John Fogarty was doing media ahead of Ireland, flying out to Chicago today. Kick in the arse sometimes is a good thing, and Munster gave Leinster a massive kick in the arse. So there, he's seen the bright side of it. You're frothing for the left wing this evening.
I know.
He just walked in with a purpose today.
I can't believe I had to wait until Tuesday night to get stuck into this game.
Sometimes he wanders in, sometimes he bounces in. There was purpose in his walk today. Just staring straight.
It's like McElroy at Betpage.
Yeah.
I was just blocking out.
Anyone.
Yeah, just straight to my desk.
Several people said, "Hey, Will, no, I've got the left wing tonight, and I need to talk."
Straight into the soundproof booth.
What's your big thing?
My big thing.
Is it more is out half the centrepiece tonight, or is it crisis in Leinster, therefore crisis at Ireland?
If we're all kind of not in agreement, but if a big theory we're going at the moment is that this Ireland team is potentially in decline, and they've played their best rugby in the past, then the extension of that is that Leinster are also in decline and have played their best rugby in the past because the players make up over 2/3 to 3/4 of the same team. I think Leinster haven't been as good since Stuart Lancaster left us rugby-wise playing. I think they peaked in 2023. I think that they've been going downhill since. They almost won the Champions Cup in Jacqueline Amber's first year. With that defensive style, they were very close, but they didn't win it. The way last season unravelled, it still makes me question whether they were right to go down this route at all. I just think they've neglected their attack play that kind of got them to the cusp of glory. And I do think a kind of a malaise has set in generally. I'd wonder if their Champions Cup window has potentially closed. Like, I wouldn't say closed, maybe ajar, because they still have a lot of good players and they didn't have their full team at the weekend. Like, if Doris, Conan, McCarthy were all there, you know, it would have made a big difference. But when you look at the competition in Europe now, Toulouse and Bordeaux, I think, are playing rugby at another level from what Leinster are doing at the moment. So I was very surprised. Like, the scoreline probably didn't reflect the game in some ways. Like Munster were 100% worthy winners, but I don't think they deserved to absolutely run away with it. Leinster had a lot of good chances, but yeah, I'm fascinated to see how Andy Farrell goes about picking his team now for Chicago, because, you know, 2 players in the 23, I'm sure you guys discussed this yesterday, in Munster's 23 are in the squad. So what does that tell you about how guys are playing and how the squad is being picked?
Do you think it's radically different if he picks it after the Munster wins?
Not necessarily, and that's the curious thing. Like Eddie Jones was always a big believer in ignoring club form to a degree, and like his first cycle, he would very much kind of have like Team England and kind of pick the guys he felt were like test match animals.
Yeah.
And Andy Farrell can go back to the Lions store and say, well, I picked Tom Curry and I picked Ty Byrne when they weren't in great form because I believe that they were the proper international players who can really deliver at the highest level, and he was vindicated. So I'm curious as to if he goes down that route again and just says, look, I'm just going to pick the exact guys I would ordinarily pick, no matter how they've played to start the season, no matter how much game time they've had to start the season, and I'm going to back them to deliver for me.
Yeah, it's fascinating for him. Will that extend to Sam Prendergast?
No, I doubt it. Like, do you think? I don't see how he can pick him to start, but I don't know if that means he won't pick him to start. Like, there's no doubting that Crowley, even before last weekend, I thought Crowley had started a good bit better, but I just don't see how he could turn to Sam Prendergast after how Crowley's been playing to start the season.
Yeah,
are we all in agreement that that'll be, like, Crowley will be starting? Like, as in, if we're putting ourselves in Andy Farrell's head, not that we think he should, but that we actually do we expect Farrell to start Crowley?
I cautiously think so, but I don't think it's a definite.
But is it not like, I mean, this is obviously a big game and I don't know a huge amount about it, I wouldn't claim to be an expert on it at all, but is it not the sort of thing where you need to put Crowley in this big test of a game? It's like, it's not a Six Nations game, it's not a World Cup game. I'm not saying it's a friendly, I know it's a test match and all that, but like, do you not need to find out, like?
Do you know what it'll test? We've sort of been working on the theory, which, like, people in the game would chat to you about and sort of back up. But the theory that somewhere along the line they looked at Crowley, looked at Prendergast and thought Prendergast had a quote-unquote higher ceiling, therefore, with a view to Australia, he's in. At the first chance we get, we're putting him in, which was after poor Crowley performance against New Zealand this time last year. First chance we get, he's in and he's staying in. It doesn't matter if he wobbles, he's staying in because we're getting him up to World Cup speed. Now, if on November 1st against Chicago, Sam Prendergast starts, then that proves that theory. That proves it's not about form short term. This is a long-term 2027 plan. We think Sam is better. We're sticking with Sam through some sticky, periods and criticism with 2027 circled in the calendar. If they pick Prendergast, it proves that theory beyond doubt.
It would make, but yeah, I don't disagree with that. But if Crowley's not starting, it really like calls into question what the criteria is to select the team.
Well,
like
there's
Crowley,
there's different criteria. Like with Ty Byrne, it's the test match animal thing. So it's not the same criteria for everyone. I think in the media we make the mistake of thinking like Andy, send us your criteria and we just read that off the memo and apply that for each case. Like in Ty Byrne's case, even if Ty Byrne hadn't played well against Leinster, he'd be starting, I think, because that test match animal thing. He didn't let me down the lines. He won't let me down in Chicago. So that's very different from the Prendergast Crowley thing, right? It looks like with Prendergast, he's seen the potential and he's stuck with him. It's it's really dispiriting for Crowley if he doesn't start in Chicago. Like he can absolutely think to himself, bloody hell, I can't do any more.
Yeah, well, that would be it, because
now it could be a poison chalice to start in Chicago.
It could be.
You might well be better off. He's picked Sam again. What more do I have to do? New Zealand come out and beat a rusty Ireland, and then Sam comes out of the team, Jack goes in, and they kind of build beautifully to South Africa. And, he could end November. You'd be careful what you wish for in some ways.
I think he's playing so well at the moment that if he starts, he could infuse the team with this spirit and a kind of a verve that they might be missing otherwise. Like I think if they start Jack Crowley, I think they could win in Chicago, definitely. Like I don't think, I'm not all doom and gloom. Like obviously, like the way a lot of the internationals played at the weekend was very poor, but I think with a couple of players being selected, like does it do you go with Craig Casey and Jack Crowley, 9 and 10? Like Craig Casey obviously has had an injury at the start of the season, but Gibson Parkinson played much more rugby than him and he wasn't great at the weekend. Like, do you just say, let's give these guys a go with the Ireland team around them? They're probably the two form halfbacks in the country. There's different options that he can pull at. I'm just interested if he does, because he hasn't selected an Ireland team in a year. As much as we kind of assume he was pulling the strings in the Six Nations and making those selections, ostensibly Simon Easterby was the coach. So this is our first chance to see what Farrell will do.
Yeah. There was a mail-in, by the way, by Dylan, a Munster fan, saying, John Team, love the show, keep it up. Typing, this is a very happy Munster supporter, reflecting on Munster's demolition at Leinster. You have to imagine Andy Farrell's a very worried man after tonight's match. He obviously sent this on Saturday. Underperformance of so many of his main men alarming. He lists out several Munster players he feel were hard done by in the squad. And then he says, my final point is, if the Leinster domination of the Irish team continues, surely the other three provinces will become alienated with the Irish team. I find myself... it's quite hard to stomach seeing 21 Leinster players in the squad. I can't be the only person in the country with this feeling. At this stage, I may as well stop buying Ireland gear and start buying some of that Castore shite. Again, keep up the excellent pod. All the best, Dylan. Very happy Munster man. Do you sense that brewing? Oh, I don't want to support Leinster and Green out there. I don't feel that really is out there.
Well, I suppose... It's one thing.
Maybe
it's one thing to make those selections when Leinster are playing really well and winning a lot. But obviously at the weekend they got hammered. Munster played really well. Ulster also played brilliantly away to the Sharks. Ulster have 4 players in the squad. Munster have 4 players in the squad, and Leinster have 21. So it's very acute at the moment.
Yeah, but it's funny. So I keep hearing that, and then the next logical stage of the conversation will be, oh well, go on then. Give me the 5 you're taking out, and the 5, and everyone there is like, oh well. And maybe around the fringes they can muscle in one and get out the other, but like I'm not seeing the scandal here. I'm not seeing Wes Houlihan hanging out in Munster not getting picked.
To go back to the Eddie Jones point, like, so the Exeter Chiefs were neck and neck with Saracens in his first window when he got into the World Cup final. Only 3 Exeter Chiefs were in that World Cup squad, despite them reaching 4 Premiership finals in a row. So Eddie Jones there wasn't necessarily, even though they were able to kind of match Saracens oftentimes in matches, there wasn't often individual players who you would say, oh, he should be in ahead of a Saracens guy or he should be in ahead of a Leicester guy. Sometimes it just breaks like that, because I do see a lot of Munster fans annoyed at the representation, and then you're like, okay, who should be in there? I think given the injuries around number 8, Gavin Coombs is maybe a guy who hasn't been maybe given his due. A lot of people say that when he went into camp, maybe he didn't train as well as some other players, and Andy Farrell maybe as a result hasn't picked him again. But I think he's played enough good rugby to warrant being in the squad. So he's maybe one person who maybe could have been in the squad. Centre, people are talking about Dan Kelly. He has only just got there though, so I think that might have been a little premature. So there aren't like a huge number of guys. Michael Milne, now to be fair, the scrummaging didn't go well at the weekend, but I think Milne is someone people are pointing at because he did the thing you're meant to do in that he left Leinster for more game time, has been playing very well, mostly in the loose, maybe the scrummaging still a bit of a work in progress. And then Paddy McCarthy gets elevated into the squad despite having played very little rugby for Leinster. Like, he looks like a good prospect, but I can see why someone would look at that and say that doesn't strike me as...
Yeah. In a way though, it's so Leinster strong, it actually proves Farrell's not being political at all.
Oh yeah, and he's not from Leinster, so he would have no reason to push Leinster or the blue media pushing this. Like, Andy Farrell's from England. Like, all he cares about is winning the Six Nations and winning the World Cup. So he has no reason to push or promote guys from a certain province if he doesn't feel they're the best.
Yeah. Well, his reason could be, I want to keep everyone happy and sort of, it's good for Irish rugby to have a bit of a spread. It's very obvious he's not thinking that way at all. I don't mean, of course he'd have no inherent bias for Leinster, but I mean, it's just so obvious when he's picking so many Leinster players, he's not even factoring in how it'll feel across the country at all.
No, because it was the same with the Lions.
Yeah.
Nor should he, no.
Do you not think? No.
He called up Jamie Osborne and Thomas Clarkson for the Lions. Like, that proved very controversial at the time, with the UK media during the summer as well.
Yeah. I know, it's pretty grim. Dylan, I'd have to say, if you're sitting down there as a Munster man and you're like, I'm not supporting this team anymore, like, the likes of, like, Tyg Furlong, Keller, Sheehan, brilliant. Porter, really good guy. Van der Fleer, like, how could you not kind of think what a good guy? Doris has Mayo roots. Henshaw alone. Mac Hansen's a nice story. James Lowe is kind of, he's Leinster, but he's sort of, he's a project player and likable guy. Like, you're not living in like, I don't know where, some vast country where it's like, well, I can't relate to that guy half an hour up the road. I think that's weird if you're watching Ireland going.
But I can see why someone from another province, if you have no representation, like there was no Ulster players.
You're from the country.
There was no Ulster players.
Yeah, but
we're used to having like spreads reasonably. A reasonable, decent spread. So.
Yeah, but okay, I can. Do you understand initial? Oh, that's weird. Then you look into it and you see it's fair enough. I don't know. I do think that's weird if you're like, I'm not sure. I don't feel I'm into this team anymore because there's not enough Munster lads there. Honestly, I think that's weird, bizarre. Your country's playing.
No, I do think that people are feeling that way though.
Okay. Oh yeah, you want to finish in baseball?
Yeah,
we're not there yet.
Not quite there yet.
We basically are. Somebody said, pass on my sympathies to Damien Delaney in the wake of Manchester United winning at Anfield. No doubt he'll somehow manage to put a negative spin on it for us. David, and every other Manchester United fan who listens to the pod, he puts in brackets. I sort of did right back to David. I was like, Damien Delaney's been a pundit for the last 6, 7, 8 years. Have I missed Manchester United's like Premier League winning, Champions League winning seasons and all this time? What's he supposed to have said about Man United for the last 7 years? They are like a disgrace to football. What? And he hates us. No, he thinks you're rubbish because you are rubbish. You have been rubbish.
Yeah, you expect Man United fans to be like,
he hates us.
But that's their good. Like like if you're a real fan of a team, you're not going to. You're just going to be like,
oh, what we're really no. What are you talking about, Damien? It's going really well. Like, come on.
That's part of being a fan, though.
So
isn't it? Like,
but they'll sit there like seals when Roy Keane's calling them a disgrace, and clap away.
Fans,
you tell him, Roy.
Fan is short for fanatic.
I know, but like Roy says it's okay. Damien Delaney says it's
exactly.
He hates us.
That's because Roy's one of them.
Yeah, it's silly. Anyway, I passed it on to Damien. We sort of did put a negative spin ish. We downplayed it a little bit.
Well, the interesting one will be it's Brighton, isn't it, next week?
Brighton, then Forest, then Spurs. If they win those three, then you'd say something's happening.
And your man can finally shave his head or get his hair cut, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the big one.
That is have you seen this?
Yes, yeah. You see, someone gave him a thump there a few weeks back, didn't they? There was some element of him getting it. Yeah, I think someone grabbed him by the long hair at one stage. Some United fan who wasn't too happy with
in making a mockery of our club.
Yeah,
you and Damien Delaney. By the way, I'm in the Man United corner if I'm in any corner. But like I take no offence to someone saying how terrible they've been. Do you think they win 3? This is the dude's with his hair's best chance. Like it's a good chance.
Yeah, Brighton are very, very tricky team for particularly the way United play. If he plays again, if Maguire plays,
they can't play him.
What are those fixtures again? Brighton home.
Yeah, Saturday.
Yeah,
not in Forest.
Forest of Sean Dyche.
Hopefully in disarray, albeit also good on the break. Like it's sort of United's worst nightmare in a way. We have to go on the front foot, and then Spurs weren't great against Villa, but we'll see. Let's win those first 2 before.
The first thing I thought of was the guy's hair. This is like modern society. I'm just like, for some reason, as soon as they made it 2 in a row, I was like, that guy could get his haircut potentially.
Yeah. So let's finish with some baseball, like we always do. Aidan.
Yes.
The World Series starts on Friday. Toronto Blue Jays first World Series since '93. I was reading against Seattle Mariners.
No, they beat the Seattle Mariners.
Sorry, they're against the Dodgers.
Yeah,
they beat the Mariners. You wanted to talk to me about this.
Well, it's just baseball.
That's all we have.
Baseball season. Joe has left the chat, as we said earlier on.
You're a baseball fan.
I kind of watch it this time of year when it gets to the playoffs, and it's the sort of thing you.
How long is a night of baseball going to cost me?
It's quicker than it used to be, so just 2.25 hours maybe. I'd rarely watch a full game now. It wouldn't be something. It's sort of YouTube highlights the following morning, 20 minutes of YouTube highlights, and they tend to be they're good. Like I mean, you can kind of get into it, get to know the story of the game, whatever. That's
20 minutes is a good.
20 minutes is perfectly fine. I mean, yeah, it can be quite good. I mean, the atmosphere in Toronto there last night looked fantastic. They came back they lost the first 2 games at home, came back to win the series 4-3, and then they play the Dodgers, who are kind of all conquering at the minute. Really, it's Shohei Ohtani and guys like that. Ohtani's pitching and hitting, which is quite remarkable.
He's the dude who got the outrageous contract, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think he did it in reverse or something like that, where he takes $2 million a year, and then in 10 years' time he's going to get $18 million a year or something like that for 10 years or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, like he's a phenomenal he's a phenomenal athlete in doing what he's doing. He's kind of doing
Unprecedented.
really Babe Ruth type of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so what's he doing?
So last Saturday night, it was like the semi-finals in effect.
Do they call them semi-finals?
No, it's called.
Why don't they call anything semis over there?
They don't like it. Yeah, the championship series. It's called.
I think that's rubbish.
The championship game in NFL. Yeah, for some reason they don't like the word semi-finals.
Doesn't let you know what stage you're at a glance. You know?
Yeah,
2 different leagues. That's the thing. So you win the American League. There's the American League and the National League. So you win the winners of the American League play the winners of the National League.
And the National League. That's the same thing.
But
You know what I mean? It's deliberately confusing.
Shohei Ohtani under the radar is doing feats that no one has done in baseball, possibly ever, but certainly since like Babe Ruth like 100 years ago. So last Saturday night he hit 3 home runs, but he was also pitching in the game. No one else is doing that. No one else would even attempt to do it. He struck out 10 batters. He didn't allow a single run. So he's like playing both ways at an exceptionally high level. Like that's just not something that's ever done in baseball, or hasn't been done since like the 20s when like home runs weren't as prevalent. Right. So it's kind of like a mad thing. He didn't pitch last year because he had to have Tommy John surgery on his elbow. So there was talk he might not pitch anymore just because it's a lot of strain on the arm when you're already batting. So, but he went back pitching a little bit this year, pitching in one of the biggest games of the year and having a stormer on both ends. I think it's being heralded as possibly the greatest like baseball performance single game of all time last Saturday.
Oh right.
And it's funny, like people might have known he had this issue with his like old interpreter. Has gone to jail for like kind of taking money off him, you know, kind of stealing money.
Where's he from?
Japan. Okay. So he doesn't really speak that much English, if any. So he hasn't been like mass marketed really in America. He kind of this quiet.
He feels under the radar.
Yeah, you wouldn't know him the way you might know another big American sports star, because I suppose the country hasn't probably warmed him to the same degree because he doesn't really speak English.
He's big in Japan.
Huge in Japan, I assume.
All right. I'm getting giddy. It's childish here.
Yeah, but but it's worth keeping an eye on it, just because it's like he's doing something that like is just very rare in sport generally. Like there's not that many sports, I suppose, when there's 2 very different skills that are competing against each other and you can do both of them. I'm trying to think of like,
because they're not really that compatible. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, geez, he'll be a good pitcher too if you're a batter.
No,
they're very separate.
In fact, they're usually like kind of hothouse from an early age as one or the other, because it's so much strain on the arm. And earlier in his career, he was pitching a lot of games. Like now he's kind of more of a batter, occasional pitcher, maybe in some bigger games like last weekend. It's not something that's done at all. That's why he's such a big contract for in part, because you're actually getting 2 players for the price of one. It's funny because there was a guy drafted in the NFL draft, Travis Hunter, and there was talk he could play offense and defense. Yeah. And it would be like the first guy since Deion Sanders in the 90s to really master both. But in reality, all he's doing is kind of playing both to a low level, which kind of negates the reuse of it. You'd rather be good at one thing than mediocre at both. But this guy, Shohei Ohtani, is unbelievable at both. Wow. Or certainly unbelievable at batting and very good at pitching.
Okay.
So he's a real weapon.
And is baseball in any way akin to basketball, whereby one superstar player can elevate a team massively?
Not really, no.
Okay.
No, because
he's got a good team around him.
The opposite, in fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like before he joined the Dodgers, he played for the Angels for a number of years. They also had a guy called Mike Trout, who's hailed as one of the greatest baseball players of all time. I don't think they made the playoffs once.
Okay.
Because it's very random. Like a pitcher can only pitch once every 4th game. So even if you have the best pitcher in the world, you're not getting him every single day. A batter only bats, I think, 4 times a game. So even if you're the best batter in the world, you can only account for so many runs in a game. So no one's repeated as World Series champion in 25 years. So like there's a lot of variance in the sport. And there's unlimited payroll.
No one's repeated as World Series champion.
The Dodgers can do that.
Yeah, the Dodgers will be the first team in 25 years. And the Yankees have the biggest payroll with the Dodgers every year, and they still can't buy their way to success.
Wow.
Despite like lavishing huge sums of money on their...
That's not just because like the draft system or something. That's just...
No, because it's different in baseball with the draft system. Like you can draft, but a lot of the big impacts are kind of true, like just basically paying the best player to come to your team, like they did with Shohei Ohtani, rather than growing and developing your own guys. So
I didn't know you were into baseball.
I dabble.
Jesus, I've never talked to you about baseball once, and I've just got like an education here. It's that all checked out. I felt.
I think it did. Yeah.
Someone can email in if I'm talking complete rot.
I doubt it somehow.
It's big on the All-Stars in baseball as well, I think.
But yeah, Shohei Ohtani, like kind of under the radar. If you look, just look up, it's like 10-minute highlights package of last Saturday night.
Yeah,
it's like home run hit, unbelievable strikeout, home run hit, unbelievable strikeout, and like the fact that you're being compared to Babe Ruth, who's literally like anyone would probably knows Babe Ruth is this baseball legend. Yeah. Like,
interesting. Are the Dodgers favourites?
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Cool. What is that on TV over here?
I think it might be on TNT.
I have a TNT feeling.
Yeah, it's TNT. Yeah. But 20 minutes on YouTube and the following morning,
free,
avoiding the score. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice thing to get into, actually.
Rounders.
Billy Joe Padden much is mad into this. You probably all know each other out there from Twitter.
No, not
because it's a network.
No, it's not an NFL. It's not.
Is there a handshake?
No. Like the Simpsons baseball handshake.
Very good. Will, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Will just getting warmed up for the left wing, which is en route.
Me, Luke, and Keane Tracy tonight.
Just get a word in tonight.
I won't keep saying that. Last week was a complete free for all.
It was. Did you see last week's left wing?
I didn't know.
It was amazing. It was like a big family at Christmas. And it was just like, but yeah. There was one point where Rudd started talking and you were like, we don't need a back history of Harry Byrne. Just get to the point.
Well, no, I was like, how did he play on Saturday? And Rudd was Harry Byrne's injury started. And I was like, Rudd, no. When me, Rudd and Luke are in studio, it's an absolute battle royale. We probably shouldn't all be allowed in the same studio.
You should. It's like, the Leinsters don't, they know that already.
Hey, Leinsterman.
How did he play on Saturday? I don't care. Let's move on.
I'm actually cringing that you were you the host, you were listening to me doing that, and just
it was pumping with energy.
I was going in 2-footed on every talking point.
I know, I'll be listening. Don't worry, I'm looking forward to it tonight. Aidan O'Hara, who is, all right, let me get this. He insisted. Deputy Group Head of Sport. Thanks for slumming it with us, guys.
Very welcome, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Will Slattery, thank you.
Cheers, Joe.
All right, guys. Thank you.